What up, world? What up? What up? Welcome to episode 4 of Convos with Deej. I'm the Deej. Thank you for tuning in. Today's episode, obviously, going to talk about new music. Yesterday, according to Kyle, there was no new music, but I'm here to prove him wrong. But before I get into the new music, I guess I'll just go into the topic of the video. Um, Today's video is titled Homebody. It's inspired by this song. Give me a second. It's inspired by a song by Napalm. It's called Homebody, of course. Uh, the significance of this song, this song got me through like a rough patch. The end of 2017, like that whole 2018 year, like that was definitely I guess you could say a dark time in my life. So this episode is dedicated to that song. Uh, the, you could also call this episode, just looking at my notes, why I decided to move away from home. I'm originally from Baltimore, so born and raised. Lived there majority of my life until recently. I moved before. Like, I went to college in 2009. Shout out Mount St. Mary's. Um, I stayed there I had to do 5 years. So I graduated there in 2014. Came back home after I graduated. Then stayed home from like 2014 to the middle of 2016. And that's when I decided to move in with a couple friends at the time to Frederick, Maryland. So that was my first real move away from home besides college. Uh, that was definitely a learning experience in itself. Um, even before then, like in my childhood, I've been moving around, uh, probably like 4 or 5 times at least, like 4 different apartments. I live with my grandma. Me and my mom lived with my grandma for a while. We had a house till my parents got divorced. So it's like, that's life. It is what it is. But I'm used to moving around. So having I guess like an actual home or a building is like a stable home is kind of foreign to me because I'm just used to being on the move. Like, even once I went to the Mount, it's like, all right, I'm only an hour away from Baltimore, so I pack all my things and go there. And then, like, you have breaks, so you have to go back home, but you have to pack enough to go home. So there's that. But then it's like, which place is your home? I guess it's like, is your home where you keep your stuff at? Like, that's what I'm talking about. So anyway, 2017, that year, moved like 2 times, like between the house that I was in, and I had a girlfriend at the time, so I moved in with her. Then that was an experience in itself. That didn't end up working out too well. Um, so then I had to move to another friend's house, friends at the time. Um, then I ended up like 2017 was just me trying not to move back to Baltimore. Like, I was doing everything in my power at the time to not go back home, I guess. But it didn't work out. So end of 2017, I ended up having to go back to my grandma's house, which my mom also had to go back to my grandma's house as well. So it was the three of us in the house. And then, like, the beginning of 2018, like that year, that was the year where, like, I started taking therapy seriously because what happened? Like, in February of that year, my mom and my grandma got in a huge argument, and that argument, like, I tried to calm it down, but then I let my emotions get the best of me. So I ended up hitting the wall. I didn't punch it, but I hit it hard enough to where it was a hole in the wall. Like, I just, like, hit it like that. And I'm not the kind of guy that is violent at all. So for me to do something like that, that was a sign that like I definitely needed to start changing. Like even with the stuff going on in 2017, like I already knew like something had to give or something had to change because I couldn't go through what I went through then again. Like I just can't. And then when that happened, like that's when I took therapy seriously. Um, and then 20, I did therapy. I stayed with my grandma and my mom through that year. Then in 2019, like things were just getting out of hand at the house. Uh, I mean, I guess you could, me and them, like like just when you're living with, especially when you're living with like family members and you're not on the same page, it can be hard to live together and have a stable home. So it's like I was basically wake up, go to the gym, stay in the house, come back, stay in the house for a little bit. Then like a couple hours before work, I'd just like go in my car, chill in my car. Like I just didn't want to be in the house. So, or not even the house. Like I definitely want to be home. Like you want to be in a place where you can call home and just have some tranquility or peace and silence. But I couldn't get that at my grandma's house. I still can't get that there. But I'll talk about that later. So I would just like stay in my car for a couple hours, then I would go to work, and then like after I worked in the afternoons into the evening, so like I'll just drive straight back home, and then I go to sleep and just do it all again. So it's like, but that's not good either because you're just avoiding the situation instead of facing it head on, which I had to learn as well. It's like you can't keep running away from your problems. You have to attack them basically. Like, you can't let them dictate what you're gonna do. So, but in 2019, like things were just getting to a boiling point. So I talked to my dad, and he helped me get an apartment I'm still in Baltimore, but it's about like a half hour away from where my grandma is, Reisterstown. So that was probably the first time, like in my adult life, that I had a place of my own that like I could just be myself. Like I could just come home and walk in the door and it's silence. Like that's what I really like. I like coming in the house and it's just peace and quiet, and then I can unwind and do whatever I gotta do before I turn something on or do whatever. But also like I like listening to music, so I want to be able to play my music as loud as I want, and I couldn't do that at my grandma's house. So it's like it's just small things. Like for instance, going into the kitchen, she wouldn't say that she has OCD, but like we all have our things. So my grandma, sorry for the noise, my grandma likes a clean house, which great. Like I love having a clean house. Because of her, like I'm really strict on, or a lot more strict on being clean and having a clean space. But living with her, like it's basically her house, her rules. And like that can be annoying when once you get older and you're an adult and you've gone to college and you've had your own place at least once, twice, like, and you have to go back, you have to move backwards so that you can go forward. But it's like you've already established this new you, like who you're trying to become. So having that apartment was like the first time that it's just my space. And I had a dog. Shout out to Zeus. I had to give him away last year because before I ended up moving this year, I had to give him away because he was just acting out. Like towards the end, he just started shitting in the house, and like I can't deal with that. He wasn't doing that when I first got him, but he was wilding towards the end. So, but it was just me and my dog from 2019 to all of last year, and then till the end of May, beginning of June of this year. So in the past 2 years, like it's given me the time to just reflect and have space to myself and grow and learn and figure out what I want to do with my life. So now that's brought me to this past summer where like I knew my lease was going to be up in May or the beginning of June. So I had to figure out like what I was gonna do, and the anxiety of like, oh man, like I gotta pack up, I gotta find somewhere to go. That could be a lot. So shout out to anybody who's going through the moving process. Like moving sucks. Like definitely. Like packing in general is just a headache. But I figured it out. So, but when I decided to move in April, or I'm sorry, at the end of May, beginning of June, decided I was going to come to. I decided two things. I decided one, I wasn't going to move. Jesus Christ. I wasn't going to move back with my grandma or my mom. I couldn't move with my dad. I have a brother who has his own place, but I couldn't move with them because like he has his own family. So I just decided like I didn't want to. I basically didn't want to live in Baltimore anymore. Like my life in Baltimore, I'm not saying that I've had a rough life. Like everybody has their trials and tribulations, but Baltimore for me, it just has so many bad memories. It's good memories there too, but it's a lot of things that happen in Baltimore that are just like somebody once said you can't heal in the same environment that hurts you or harm you or whatever. However it goes, just paraphrasing. So it's like when I went to between like my childhood, my parents getting divorced, it's like all right, that's cool. And then I had like a pretty big family when I was young, and just watching like all the elders pass away from either being sick, well, I mean, yeah, majority just being sick or just time, like just old age. Then when I was in college, like my before my sophomore year, one of my friends from high school, John Crowder, he played basketball and he was a great player, like phenomenal, tall. He had everything going for him. Like everybody loved him. And July 4th, the night of July 4th, he was murdered. And that's another thing about Baltimore. It's like the killer can still be out there. People may know who did it, but nobody's saying nothing, and like justice hasn't been served for him, in my opinion. So that happened my sophomore year. And then the junior year, like my uncle was murdered. So like those two things happened within a year, a little over a year span, like the July 4th and like up how many years has it been? We're going on 10 years that my uncle was murdered, and no justice for that either. So it's like, and it's like I know where the cemeteries are. It's like you drive past them, and it's like all those memories, and then you see how like those things affect the family members, affect my family members. It's like nobody was the same after that happened. So it's just like that. Then like after that, like there was a span of time it was like, all right, well nobody's passing away, which is fine. But like, let's see. Before I went to college, my great grandmother passed away from just like old age. Like, and I had both of my great grandmothers pass away. It's like that, like all within like the first 3-4 years of like college. Like both of my great grandmothers passed away in 2009, 2010, and John was murdered. Then my uncle was murdered. Then there was a couple years where it's like everything's all right. Then I graduated, but like I still had trials and tribulations at the Mount. Like there's things that I was going through at the Mount, like in hindsight weren't that big, but at the time it's just like, man, like how do I get out of this situation? And then the whole ordeal of just college in general, like trying to get your bachelor's or your master's or whatever, it's not easy. It takes a lot of willpower for somebody to go through and go to college. Like that's an extra 4 years that you might have to pay for it. You might have to end up in debt. But if that's what you want, you gotta go do it. But like just sidetracking, bringing it back to this year, like with all the things that happened in Baltimore and like my past, I just decided like I didn't want to live in Baltimore, and I'm getting ready to turn 30 soon. So my next decade of life, I'm focused on me, basically. And in order for me to do that, I felt like I needed to move away, which led to my second decision was like where do I go? So my first thought was San Antonio, but the cars didn't work out. Like I honestly, that would have been a harder move for me to do at the time. Like I may be able to still do it, but right now, it's possible. Anything's possible. So I won't say that it won't happen, but at first I was thinking like San Antonio. Maybe I'll go to Texas. But then I was hearing like everybody's moving to Texas. It's like, all right. So maybe I don't move to Texas. So then I was thinking like, all right, well, where can I go? So I decided like I wanted to be closer to my friends. And all my friends are in either Philadelphia or New Jersey. My closest friends. Or New York. So shout out to Ham. Shout out to AJV. Shout out to Paul. Paul's in Massachusetts or Connecticut. One of those states. But he's originally from Kennett Square. So shout out to Ham, AJV, Rick, Kyle. Shout out to Prescott. Shout out to Show Turner. Is anybody else up here? I think I just got six. Like for now, like I just wanted to like. I spent the past 2 years by myself, basically. Like I would go to work, I'd go see my family, or I'd chill with my dog. That was about it. Like going back to like my past, is like because of my past, that kind of affected how I moved. It's like there are certain places in Baltimore that I just won't go. Like I know exactly where my uncle was murdered at because me and my mom and my grandma went to the church where he was murdered in front of. So I know exactly where that street is. I know what it looks like. I know how to get there, and I just refuse to go there. I know where my great grandmother lives. Like she lived in this apartment building, close to the Security Square Mall. Like I rarely, if ever, have to go past there. But if on this rare occasion that I drive past there, like I know that like I used to make this left. Me and my grandma used to make this left. Then we go through all the things that we used to do, like to see my great grandmother, and that's where she used to live until she moved with my grandma. So it's like I know I'm going on a spiel here, but it's just like those small things that can affect you from your past that still affect you to this day and how you move. Like I just wasn't the kind of person at home where it's like, all right, I'm gonna go to the club tonight. And I had friends at home, which leads me to another sidetrack. Like in summer of 2019, like I had to cut all of my old friends off from home because I might talk. It's too deep. Like it's not too deep, but it's information that I don't want to say because I even though we're not friends anymore, I still respect their privacy, and I refuse to put them out like that. But unfortunately, because of instances that happened in 2019, I had to cut all my childhood friends off. Like the remaining friends that I had from home, I had to cut them off, and that was hard for me because it's like now I'm really here by myself. Like at least I could chill with my friends at home. It's like now I don't have friends at home. I just got my family, and I'm chilling with my mom and my grandma. It's like we're not on the same page, and I'm trying to figure out how to get back on my feet. It's like all those things together. Like trying to live in Baltimore for me, it just would have been difficult. So I decided that I wanted to be closer to my friends and to see something new. So I moved to Philly. I mean, this is this is not where I plan on staying forever, of course. But this is where I am now. So I'm staying with Show Turner. And I got my friends here. Like, I get to see them more often. And these past 3 months I've probably grown more in the past 3-4 months than I have like in the past 2 years at home. Like, me moving forced me to get outside of my comfort zone because I didn't have a choice. Like, other than my friends, I don't know anything around here. Like, I had to figure out, like, all right, where do I go get something to eat from? I have a LA Fitness plan. Where can I go to the gym, get a workout? Where can I like to go to the botanical garden. Like, where can I go do things that I wouldn't do at home, like in Baltimore? So now, this whole summer, like, I've just basically been traveling. Like, I went to Georgia. I've been to concerts. I went to Ocean City. Like, we chilled down there. Like, I've just been on the road for the most part. Like, every now and then I'd have to go back home for something. Like, for instance, a month ago, my grandma's house was struck by lightning. And, like, I was home during that time. So now they're going, not only was it struck by lightning, there was an electrical fire. So, and it only really affected my grandma's apartment and her neighbor. So now my grandma and my mom have to stay in a hotel until they figure out, or until they finish working on the house. But it's like, that's just another example. It's like, I can't stay here. I can't be in a hotel with y'all, because I at this point in my life, I need my own space. So that's why I'm still here. But I guess to tie this all together, back to Homebody, it's not about, a home is not where you put your stuff at. Your home is here. Like, it doesn't matter where you go. If as long as you're home here, like, you'll feel at home anywhere, basically. Like I said, I've been on the move all summer. Since May, I've been to Hawaii. I went to South Carolina, New York, Ocean City, Philly. Like, it's still places that I want to go, things that I want to do this year. And it's not about, like, oh, well, I want to move here or I want to move there. Like, yeah, I would love to have just, like, a stable place. Like, all right, this is my home. But maybe right now, God or the universe or whatever y'all believe in is just telling me, or just giving me lessons to learn before I get my home. Because when I first moved to Philly, like, I was looking at places and my dad was going to help me, but it ended up not working out. So that's why I don't have the place that I was going to get. But I'm still here. So, I mean, I must be doing something right, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that's my spiel. Just, I guess to summarize it, just take it easy. Like, just know that your home is here. Take it, inhale, exhale, it's all gonna be all right. So, with that being said, let's get into some new music. Since Kyle said there was no new music yesterday, I'm here to prove him wrong. Let's see. So last week, I forgot to mention AZ. I did talk about it 2 episodes ago, I believe. AZ dropped an album, Do or Die 2. Excuse me. That was really good. Starts off with Idris Elba. Great voice for an intro. My favorite songs on here, probably Ritual, because it's got Lil Wayne and Conway. Never Enough, Rick Ross. I want to say it kind of like dies off at the end. Like, AZ still brings the bars, but like, it starts off really hot. So give it a check. definitely. Like AZ from, if you listen to "Life's a Bitch" by Nas, he's the rapper from that song. He's the other rapper on that song. So that being said, let's get on to new music from this week. James Blake, his album is still coming out October 4th, but he released a new song, Famous Last Words. It's the first song on the new album. What's the name of it? Shit. What's the name of the album? I think it's Friends That Break Your Heart. Friends, something like that. But yeah, new song, Famous Last Words. It's pretty good. Can't complain. I'm excited to hear the album. So a couple more weeks on that. Big news for all the Mac fans. Mac Miller Estate has decided to release Faces on October 18th. And they decided to use Colors and Shapes, which is my favorite song off of Faces, as the lead single for it. They redid the album. They released a video for Colors and Shapes, which is fucking phenomenal. Get your tissues ready if you're a Mac fan. Like, it features Mac's dog Benji, so just be prepared. Like, it's a great video. Love that song. Faces, Mac Miller, coming out October 18th. If you're not onto the Mac Miller wave by now, I guess Faces would actually be a really good time to get on that wave. So, lucky you. Let's see. I know what I'm doing. Instead of just typing the songs. Van Jess released the deluxe album or deluxe version of Homegrown. It has 4 new songs on there, which are all bangers. I already liked Say Yes when they released it as a single, so that's why I don't have it liked here. But Love and Hope is probably my favorite one out of the 4. Most definitely. Like, I've been playing that one on repeat since last night. So that one's a banger. Shout out to Van Jess. I believe they're from the DC area. So shout out to them. They're a phenomenal duo. What else came out? Mild High Club came out with a new album, Going, Going, Gone. I haven't been able to listen to all of it yet because there was a lot more music that came out than meets the eye. So the only song that I listened to is Over Again, but it's pretty good. They're more alternative, or I guess Mile High Club is more alternative, so give that a peep if you like that kind of wave. Probably compared them to like Home Shake or her. I would compare Mild High Club to Home Shake as far as the same kind of vibes. We got Thames. She was on the Drake album, Certified Lover Boy. She's on Fountains. So she came out with a song with Brent Faiyaz, however you say his last name. It's called Found. This one's really good. Chaos in the CBD. They're more house based. They came out with an EP, Brainstorm. So I believe it's 4 songs on here. So I still have to listen to the rest of the songs, but Echolocation was pretty good. We got Ham said Stepping on a Beat by Young Gravy wasn't that good, but I thought it was pretty good. Like, Stepping on a Beat from like SpongeBob, but like obviously different. So shout out Young Gravy. Let's see. Shout out Young Bay. Went to a concert with the gang like 2 years ago. So he's the producer on this song with Reva DeVito. Life Fest, pretty good. Then we have Wifia. She released a remix of Wide Open. It's featuring Masengo. The remix is by Taku and Kabu. So that's it's like R&B, but like kind of like house-ish, or like yeah, I guess I would say house-ish. Lion Babe, who my friend said they weren't gonna. I told them like 3 years ago, Lion Babe was still gonna be around like today, and they were like, it's not gonna happen, and here she still is. So shout out to Lion Babe. Rainbows, the Zikomo remix. like they do, or Lion Babe, she does more like house, so it's more of a house song. And then Amore, I guess that's how you say her name, released a single "Sad Girls Love Money," featuring Kali Uchis and Molly. I guess that's how you say that. It's a pretty good song. So I believe. Oh, Currency released an album. He's releasing like 5 more albums by the end of this year. He's probably the most as far as consistency. Currency, he's gonna give you an album. He's gonna give you like 7, 8 albums a year, and it's only 12 months out of here. He's giving the girl 5 in the next 3 months. So he released a new album, Matching Rolexes. I haven't listened to all of it. It has a decent amount of features on here, and it's produced by Kino Beats. So give that a look if you're a Currency fan. He's released, like I said, he's releasing like 4 or 5 more albums by the end of the year. So I'll definitely be giving those a peep between now and the end of the year. And then Jordan Rakai, hopefully I'm saying his name right, probably not, released an album, What We Call Life. He has a few songs that I've listened to before that are pretty good. So and I already like the song Illusions. So I'm going to give this a peep later on. And hopefully I like the rest of it. If not, at least I got one song. So let me just double check and make sure that's all the songs. Oh, Kehlani came out with a new song called Alter. That song's pretty good too. I believe I have that right here. Kalani came out with a new song. Shout out Kalani. It's called Alter. Give that a peep. And I believe that's it for the new music. So that's been another episode of Convos with Deej. I'm the Deej. It's been episode 4. Went a little bit longer than usual, but thank you for sticking through. Till next time, peace.